So I'm sure you guys have heard of the Moniyan Empire. It's basically the middle kingdom in Mobile Legends if you've played the game. And it's one of the most central locations in the game's lore. It's where heroes like Sylvana, Tigreal, Fanny, Alucard, and even Diroth come from. There's a Lightborn skin line about these heroes except for Sylvana and Diroth, but I'm sure you've all heard of it. And maybe some of you even have it, but it's relatively expensive. But before this site became like a holy empire that everyone recognizes, it actually had a different name. I don't know if it's retcon, but it used to be called Mosanea. So in today's video, we'll be talking about the Moniyan Empire, basically the entire story of it. It's not really in depth, but I hope I can just cover what the lore mentions about this empire. Also, this video is sponsored by me. Yes, I want to promote my side channel. I basically just do random stuff on it, centered around games. So if you guys want more of my personality, check that channel out. I'll leave a link in the description, and I'll probably just flash it up on screen. Anyways, back to the Moniyan Empire. According to the lore, Mosania was just another region back then, but it eventually grew into an empire we now know today as the Moniyan Empire, the one that became the heart of the Land of Dawn. And as the story goes, it's now ruled by the Princess Sylvana and her royal family, which we do not know of. She's basically the public face of the empire, being the representative, and is a playable hero in Mobile Legends, representing the order and faith, while also carrying what happened back then, which is basically the invasion of the Abyss. Sylvana had a brother, who I'm sure you guys know as Diroth, who basically defected from the Moniyan Empire and became the leader of the Abyss, which happens to be what we're talking about next. The main event that transpires from this Moniyan Empire and the lore of it is basically the invasion of Diroth and the Empire Reborn. If you have followed the events of Diroth's background lore and the invasion of the Empire Reborn storyline, you'll know that Diroth was taken by the Abyss, didn't just disappear. He grew up down there, corrupted by darkness, and eventually became one of the Abyss commanders. So when he led an invasion against the Moniyan Empire, it wasn't just another war, it was mainly about personal gain because he basically was once a prince there, and it was literally the empire fighting against one of its own. The Lightborn heroes, based on the Lightborn skin line, like Tigreal, Fanny, Granger, and Harith, all fought during that time. They are the Empire's elite protectors, kind of like the British Royal Guard but with divine blessings from the light itself. Typically, these Lightborn characters represent the best of humanity, but I'm not sure where they get it from. It's probably some intricate background lore that I've not read about, but I found this from the wiki. They are sworn to defend the Empire against the Abyss no matter what. The next thing after the invasion is also the capital and the church. Also, I wanted to mention that the Moniyan Empire got inspiration from the European continent, basically Western countries, basically the continent of Europe. You get what I mean? Britain, Italy, Spain, Portugal. That's off the top of my head what I think of when I think of Europe. And I don't think of the Moniyan Empire as Europe, but it's in the wiki also, so I'm gonna mention it here just to add some more details to it. So one thing I do associate about Britain on Europe in essence is definitely the church, and there is a church in the Moniyan Empire too. So at the heart of the city in the Moniyan Empire, there is a city called Lumina City. How many times did I say city? So at the heart of the Moniyan Empire is a city called Lumina City, which the lore describes as the most prosperous place in the entire Land of Dawn, which is basically the entire world in that game. It's not just the capital, it's the political, cultural, and trade center of the continent. The city's huge oracle plaza can fit tens of thousands of people, and that's where they celebrate their heroes' victories, hold royal ceremonies, and public speeches. Then you have the Monastery of Light, which is pretty unknown in terms of how many people know about it, but for the people who know it, they will know it, like intricate, and sophisticated levels of detail. So the Monastery of Light is like the birthplace of the Church of Light. This is where the earliest followers of the Lord of Light performed ancient rituals. Over time, when the Holy Order grew stronger, the main church moved to Lumina City, but some monks stayed behind, keeping the old traditions alive. They're kind of like the old school believers, following the lore and the pure original doctrines before politics got involved in all this church and capital stuff. So they're basically like the OGs, you get what I'm saying? But the Moniyan Empire is big because it's loosely based on the European continent. So of course there will be sublocations as in states or countries, not based on real life places, but I can see them having some similarities with some nations in this world. I'm not gonna name them, but you can definitely tell from once I talk about them. So the first one, outside Lumina City, the Moniyan Empire has huge, unique areas with each of its own history, heroes, and secrets. So we're gonna go over them one by one. The first one is the Moniyan Plain. The Moniyan Plain stretch around the capital, which just consists of wide open lands used for trade routes, travel, and sometimes small military patrols. It's basically the highway connecting all parts of the empire to other regions of the Land of Dawn. The second one is Braidwood, which used to be a peaceful town until a famine struck. People abandoned it, and now it's basically a criminal hideout. Thieves, bandits, and smugglers all stay there because it's isolated and forgotten by the Empire. This was mentioned in a very small part of the lore, and it's not really big, so I do not know if this Braidwood stuff is even retconned after Project Next. Further south, which is down, there's Avalor, which plays a huge role in Cecilian and Carmilla's love story. I'm sure you guys know of that. This is where Cecilian, who was one of the last blood demons, escaped from the abyss and tried to live peacefully after leaving his old life behind. It's also where Carmilla, the princess of House Anzac, met and fell in love with him. Their story shares parallels with Sylvana and D-Roth's relationship, and it shows how the Moniyan Empire isn't all about glory, and there's tragedy and also some trauma mixed in to its history as well. The third one is the noble houses of the Empire. The Moniyan Empire is not just ruled by one single royal family, but also by several noble houses, each controlling different regions. There's Castle Eberlin, ruled by House Paxley. Basically the Paxley family, which is Aemon and Gushen, mainly those two. I forgot who else was in there. The Paxleys are known for their magical abilities and political power. Both Aemon and Gushen come from this house, and even Valentina is somewhat connected to it in certain lore references. They're one of the oldest and most influential families in the Empire. Then you have Castle Gorge, home to House Baroque, where Lancelot and Guinevere come from. It's basically like the King Arthur story, but told in the Land of Dawn. It's located in the western part of the Empire, the second largest city after Lumina City, and it's known for its wealth and gold mines. House Baroque has ruled the western region since the Empire's golden age, where economical and political growth was booming. In the north, there's Castle Grandrock, also called the Magical City. This is where Leslie and Harley come from, part of House Vance. This city is built on a massive rock formation surrounded by strong walls, making it almost impossible to invade. It also connects to the Northern Vale, so it's a big hub for trade and travel. And in that same area, approximately somewhere there, there's the Lion's Academy of Magic, where Harley studied. The lore says it's one of the best places to learn illusion and trickery-based magic, not as famous as the Ursula Academy, but definitely respected in its own place. Then you've got Swan Castle, home to the Elven family. This is rather unknown, but it's still part of the lore where Odette lives. It's built near the Azure Lake, also known as Swan Lake, which used to be ruled by elves before the humans took over. It's known for its peaceful scenery and beauty, and it's where Lancelot actually recovered from his injuries after one of his battles. Finally, there's the Black Forest, on the far eastern border near the Megalith Wasteland. It's home to werewolves and considered very dangerous, and that's where Roger lives, just outside the forest. Ruby also comes from a nearby village before it got attacked by wolves. All of these sublocations together make up the Moniyan Empire, though not all of them are mentioned. These are the major ones that you have to keep in mind when we talk about the Moniyan Empire in the future. Apart from the sublocations, we also must talk about the conflicts, which are struggles and the corruption within the folds of the Empire. Now, even with all this power and prosperity, the Empire is not perfect, like similar to how countries have these days. The Benedetta lore talks about how corruption inside the Knight's Order runs deep. This is from the Benedetta's background story. So there's a part where it mentions that when she tried to enlist in the army, she was rejected not because she wasn't skilled, but because of her family background. Her father had once served under Alucard's father, who was labeled a traitor after questioning the church. The knights decided that no descendant of a rebel could ever join again. It just shows how the Moniyan Empire, for all its talk about light and justice, can really be judgmental and political behind the scenes. To talk about the modern day Moniyan Empire, in the present timeline, Princess Sylvana still leads the Empire, trying to uphold her family's legacy while consistently fighting off threats from the Abyss. And from within her own kingdom, she's still haunted by her brother's disappearance, and her whole life has been trying to cleanse the Empire of darkness that took him. Meanwhile, heroes like Tigreal still serve loyally, but with doubts, questioning whether or not the Moniyan Empire is just a simple place with corruption and conflict, and whether or not he should leave. Alucard fights his own war outside the system, Fanny continues to protect the skies with her capables, and Benedetta walks her own path, carrying the weight of injustice because of how she was rejected. And down below the Abyss, the same darkness that started it all is stirring again. So yeah, that's basically the Moniyan Empire. from its beginning as Mosania to its golden age and to the cracks showing in modern times. It's not just one of the biggest regions in the Land of Dawn, it's also one of the most layered. You've got royal drama, divine wars, forbidden love stories, and ancient rivalries all wrapped up into one empire. It's easy to look at it from a viewer's perspective as like a light and justice type of empire, but the deeper you go into it, the more you realize it's about power, people, and the choices they make in the name of the light, which is clearly very corrupted. So that's it for today's video. We talked about the Moniyan Empire. I would really like to hear what you guys think about this empire before you learn about the lore and after you learn about the lore, because for the longest time I thought that the Moniyan Empire was like a small patch of land which just consists of Savannah and the Lightborn. I don't know it really brought in the Paxleys or Valentina, Ruby, Roger, all of those. I really thought it was just a small piece of land. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. I'm sorry if I started a lot because this is my first time filming a non-guide video. So yeah, forgive me for that. Yeah, thank you guys for watching. Goodbye.